Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Over the last couple of days, I've been running a little bit of an experiment that I've been live streaming over on Twitch, where I've been running a whole bunch of Vaal Temple maps back to back. Now, Vaal Temple has always been something that you could get by Vaaling high-level maps, and that has changed a little bit in 3.17. It used to be that you'd Vaal tier 15 maps, and they would sometimes upgrade into a Vaal Temple, which was usually considered a pretty bad result because Vaal Temple's layout is terrible, as you will see if you watch the footage in the background. However, 3.17 changed this. Now you get a Vaal Temple by Vaaling tier 16 maps. It seems to be an uncommon result when you Vaal maps, but not a particularly rare one. And if you typically Vaal maps, you will find that you get a lot of Vaal Temples while doing so. Now, the changes that were made to Vaal Temple, it's still an awful layout and it still has a very difficult boss. But there's been a huge buff in the form of 10 Vaal vessels that have been added to the map. And as far as I can tell, this 10 Vaal vessels actually does scale up with increased effect of map modifiers. So this can be as high as 13, depending on the way you've got your atlas set up. 13 if you have all 15 points up near the top that add 2% increased effect of map modifiers. So these maps will drop these extra vessels that have special rewards in them. They function somewhat like a strongbox that's corrupted. However, they also drop some things that you would not normally see in a strongbox. You'll see I get a lot of two-implicit corrupted unique items in this video. You will see that I get a lot of two-implicit corrupted jewels. So these will be rare jewels. They'll either have 3 or 4 mods, and they will have 2 Vaal implicits on them. Both unique items with 2 Vaal implicits and jewels with 2 Vaal implicits can be really good. Most of the time they won't be, but you will see a couple that get dropped here that are fairly compelling to maybe consider using. And it seems like I'm getting about 3 of the 2 implicit corrupted jewels per map and about 2 of the 2 implicit corrupted unique items per map. In this video, you will also, of course, see me get an intuitive leap with the best possible corruption on it, or tied for best with corrupted blood can't be inflicted upon you. These 2 corruptions are awesome. I get one of them, and that is a 5 exalt drop. That's pretty lucky. I only got 1 item that good out of the 20 or so Vaal Temples I've run. So there's the 2 that you'll see in this video, plus about 18 that I've run on stream. And I only get 1 5 exalt drop, but I do get a bunch of other stuff that might conceivably sell. Among some of the other highlights I've had, there's a soul tether that's 2 implicit corrupted with 2 good corrupts on it. Unfortunately, it has no quality and it can't get any, it can't be divine orbed. So it's not ideal, but it is quite a bit better than a default soul tether. There's also a couple of real meme items like a Queen's Decree sword, i.e. not an attack weapon, that has on it socketed gems are supported by level 10 additional accuracy at the same time as resolute technique. This does nothing, like additional accuracy does absolutely nothing useful to you when you have resolute technique. You don't want these 2 things together at all, so that's a bit of a joke. The other thing you will notice if you're watching this in the background is just the sheer number of maps that I'm getting. Now, this comes after the changes to void stones that were made in 3.17.1, which dramatically increased the amount of maps that drop. However, even before 3.17.1, even with only 1 set of nodes on the Atlas allocated that increased map tier, I was massively over-sustaining from these Vaal Temples. So I was getting something like, I think, just my cemetery maps. Now, my Atlas is set up so that I have 7 out of the 12 favorited maps unlocked, and all 7 of those are turned to cemetery map. In the first 15 Vaal Temples I did, I got 24 cemetery maps alone. So that's not even counting anything that's not a cemetery. I was over-sustaining just based on my 7 favorited maps. If I was to have 12 favorited maps instead of 7, I would have been over-sustaining by more. If I was to have been doing this when all of the Voidstone buffs were in play, then I would have been over-sustaining by even more after that. So yeah, absolutely over-the-top levels of map over-sustain, which means that essentially maps will be worthless for the rest of the league. That was going to be the case anyway, but Vaal Temple just ratchets this up a level. All the maps that drop are dropping corrupt rare and identified, and so this means that you can always run them. Maybe you can't run them yourself, but you can always find someone that can run them. And they just tend to be better than a map that is rolled by an alchemy orb, just by virtue of having more quantity. They have a higher number of map modifiers typically. At least that's my experience. So the map drops are off the planet. Absolutely crazy. And if you get yourself a Vaal Temple, definitely give it a shot. The other thing that's interesting is just the number of uniques that I'm getting. Now, unique items are something that you normally do get a fair few of at endgame play, but you will see a really large number of them that drop with some sort of modifications on them in these runs. So this is the things that are dropping two-implicit corrupted, the things that are dropping just with a single Vaal implicit. There's a massive number of those. Intuitive Leap is the only highlight, and with its excellent corruption is the only true highlight that I got there. But I do have a number of other tier 2 rarity uniques. So I have a Corpse Walker that dropped for me in these maps. It just feels like it's dropping a very large number of unique items in general. What else is there that's really interesting in here? As a bit of a joke, I got a Ritual Vessel drop that has Karj ILI in it. This is the deadly one of the 3 bosses. And so, like, the troll in me wants to sell that, but I'll probably end up using it myself for a bit of a joke when I don't mind losing some XP in rituals, because she is absolutely brutal to have in a ritual. She's one of those bosses you never want anywhere near you. That's the one of the 3 bosses that's projectile based, and she has that devastating lingering rain of arrows skill that she uses that just turns a massive area of the arena in a ritual into a no-go zone for the whole period of time that those arrows continue to rain down. So that was something that was a little bit of fun. Otherwise, though, the whole project's been a little bit of fun. Do I recommend this? This really comes down to what your tolerance is for this map tile set. It is not so lucrative that I would say drop whatever you're doing and give this a shot. However, I would say that running a Vaal Temple is reasonably comparable to running a different map with 4 gilded scarabs. They are really quite juicy, but they do take inherently quite a bit longer, and they're also unable to be affected by sextants, which is a really bad thing. So sextants are something that can offer a considerable buff to your map, just to the amount of content that's in your map, and sextants do not work on Vaal Temple at the time that I'm recording this video. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's intended. I kind of assume it's a bug, but then again, it's not real. There's not any communication either way from GGG, and it is not on the Atlas, so it may just well be that it is working as intended. Otherwise, though, definitely give this a shot if you're looking for fun items. Not necessarily strong items, but fun items that might give you some inspiration for new build ideas. You will definitely find some items you would never have thought to create, like items that are, just various endgame uniques that you might not necessarily otherwise have used, but then you get 2 really good Vaal implicits on them that work together, and maybe they just fit perfectly into some idea that you've got in your mind. Or alternately, maybe you'll just get some jewels that your character can use. You get lucky on an Abyss jewel or a classic jewel that drops with 2 Vaal implicits, and you could have an absolute monster. These drop with 4 mods sometimes as well, so 4 explicit mods plus 2 Vaal implicits. That's a total of 6 mods on a jewel. That's quite a bit stronger than you would normally get. Otherwise, though, just play the Vaal Temples if they look like fun, and if they don't look like fun, then give them a miss. That's all I got on this. May your Vaal Orbs have interesting results, and may your Vaal Temples drop you ridiculous items. Hopefully you are able to get something at least as good as the Intuitive Leap that you will see me get in this video.